Mr. Mikowski, who are all these people in ICE detention facilities that Democrats want on the street? Who are these folks? Are they all just apple pie asylum-seeking folks, or who else might be in there?
Sir, thank you for the question. First and foremost, they're immigration law violators. They violated the basic laws, the immigration laws that are codified by Congress. I'll say it again.
So they broke the law?
Yes, sir. That's first and foremost. They're not a United States citizen.
Any of them violent? In addition to breaking the law, any of them violent people inside these detention centers?
Absolutely, sir.
Any of them gang members?
Absolutely, sir.
Any of them members of MS-13?
Absolutely, sir.
Any of them Trinity Aragua gang members?
Again, sir, yes.
So they're not just all warm and fuzzy folks that the Democrats want out on the street, right? They're bad guys. Some of them are bad guys, really bad guys. Now, some of them are just asylum seekers, but some of them are really bad guys. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir, it's fair to say.
Yeah, because you worked in these facilities, is that right?
I've worked in them, sir, yes.
You know them better than anyone in this hearing room. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and before they go to detention, they have to get apprehended somewhere. They have to get arrested or taken into custody by ICE. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You got to get them somewhere. You know, maybe it's on the border, maybe it's somewhere else. But you have to get them before you take them to the ICE detention facility.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did you ever think that you would see Democrat mayors in all kinds of urban areas around this country and Democrat city councils pass resolutions say, don't work with ICE when they come to apprehend gang members, bad guys, MS-13 violent offenders? Did you ever think you'd see that?
Not here in the United States, sir.
But that's exactly what's happening around the country, isn't it?
Yes, sir. In my home state of New Jersey, that's fact.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere. New Jersey, Denver, Boston, you name it. It's happening. And did you ever think you'd see governors and state legislatures do the same thing and say, you know what? Our whole darn state is going to be a sanctuary state. Don't work with ICE when they're coming to enforce the law. Did you ever think you'd see that?
No, sir.
Did you ever think you would see judges in their chambers tell the bad guy, hey, talk to his lawyer, hey, slip out the back door because the ICE agents are coming in the front door to enforce federal law? Did you ever think you'd see that?
No, sir.
And did you ever think you would see what happened last week or 2 weeks ago, I should say, in New Jersey? Did you ever think you'd see members of Congress engage in that kind of behavior?
Sir, after what I witnessed in 2018, yes, in New York City, I didn't put it past anybody, but I find that behavior to be absurd.
Well, in other words, Mr. McCall, it's gotten so bad, nothing surprises you now with what the left's going to do.
Nothing, sir.
I know, and that's where the American people are, and that's why they appreciate what the Trump administration is doing. Why is it better to arrest people at the jails or at the courthouse, Mr. Mikowski, than it is out on the street? Why is that better?
I believe my colleague had touched on it, but it's much safer for the alien, the person involved, and it's also safer for the general public. Most importantly, the officers. The rule of thumb is safety first.
It's safer for everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
It's safer for everyone. Safer for the migrant, safer for law enforcement, safer for the general public. Because you don't want to happen what has happened already because of the crazy left-wing policies that some of these cities and states and now judges have. When you could send two, it's cheaper for the taxpayers. Instead of sending 6 guys to arrest them on the street, you can send 2 guys to get him at the courthouse or at the jail. But that side says no. We're for the sanctuary policies. We're for making it tougher on law enforcement. We're for endangering the community. We're for making it tougher on the migrant and going out and arresting them on the street. Really, one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Would you agree, Mr. Mikowski?
Yes, sir. And to your point, we talk about sanctuary cities, and my colleague was mentioning like deportation officers need to be on the street. Imagine if they would just honor detainers, they rolled over into custody, and I could send people over there to pick them up in a facility, not taking the officers away from an enforcement action. Okay, so deportation officers are very vital.
Yes.
And you know, the peaceful transfer from one facility to the other. It's just common sense, sir.
No, we call that, in economics, you call that opportunity cost, right? Because it's safer for the officer, safer for the public, safer for the migrant, but it also, when you have to send 6 of them out on the street, there's the opportunity lost that you now have 4 extra agents there when they could be out doing other good work protecting the public. That's how dumb, there's no other word for it, how dumb this whole sanctuary policy is. Thank you for your work.
So, I like to keep things simple sometimes. I'm from Jersey too. And sometimes simple truths really kind of display more complex truths as well. So I think there's a few simple truths. And I'm going to ask all of you, and I'm going to ask for a really quick, yes or no answer. I believe open borders, sanctuary cities, and sanctuary states where you're releasing individuals back into the community, including dangerous criminals who have been guilty and have committed crimes like rape on minors, like murder, like disfigurement, like dealing and selling drugs, just to name a few, like violating gun laws, all of that. I think that's really bad. I don't think we should let that happen. Let's really get down to what this is all about. In the last administration, we let people like that come across the border and come into the United States of America. Would you agree with me that that's bad? Mr. Arthur, quickly, yes or no?
Yes, I do, sir.
Mr. Marino, yes
Yes.
or no? Mr. Mikowski, yes or no?
Absolutely, sir.
Mr.
Yes.
Hauser, yes or no? Okay, so that's something we've already done better on. We're straightening that out now. We are not allowing those individuals to come into the United States of America. Do you believe, as I do, that as members of Congress, and you can state this, don't be afraid to say it, that we have an added level of responsibility, the way that we comport ourselves, whether we are Republicans, whether we are Democrats, whatever we are, that we should behave in a certain fashion. We write laws. So you would believe that we would follow the rule and believe in the rule of law itself. So and I believe we do have oversight. It's a process. You behave a certain way. It doesn't mean that you agree with everybody. It doesn't mean you don't investigate, but that you, as a member of Congress, as a congressman or a congresswoman, behave in an appropriate fashion lawfully, not in a combative assault type of way. Would you believe that that is true? Mr. Arthur, yes or no?
Yes, and I attempted to comport myself that way when I was an oversight counsel.
I'm sure you did. Mr. Marino, yes or no?
Absolutely, yes.
Mr. Mikowski, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hauser, yes or no?
Absolutely, sir. It's what the military.
So we saw the video. You saw the video. I don't have to say any words. Look at the video. Even all you who came here with a certain focus in your mind and were told to believe something, look at the video and see what it shows. That's all I'll say. Thirdly, do you think there's a financial effect on all of us in America while we debate the great issues of the day? How much should we spend? Where should we spend it? What should we do with the fiscal resources that we have, with the dollars that we bring in through taxation? Do you believe it's inappropriate to fund illegals, including illegal criminals, which we have? I could ask you that question. In fact, I'll ask a real question very quickly. In the past administration, did we at times fund illegal aliens? I'm sorry, illegal criminal aliens.
Absolutely.
Did we fund illegal criminal aliens?
Yes, sir.
Did we fund illegal criminal aliens in the last
Yes, sir.
administration? Did we, Mr. Hauser,
What
fund
does fund mean, sir?
Give them stuff. Give them housing, give them clothing, give them transportation, give them education, give them, in some cases, debit cards. Did we do that?
We have provided resources to migrants
Right,
for
we
60
funded
years.
them.
60 years, sir.
We funded them. Not
The first
illegal
Trump
bad
administration.
people, we didn't. No, I disagree, and that's wrong. And would you believe that costs people? We don't even have to go into it. Of course it costs the taxpayer. Of course, when resources are sparse, and we'll argue about Medicaid and SNAP and all these things, how about we don't give money to people who are really bad people doing bad things, send them back to the country of origin? Maybe that's a good idea. And I did want to address the ranking member, not the ranking member of the subcommittee, Mr. Raskin. He always loves to talk about the Senate bill, so I always have to talk about it as well. It was a bad bill. I didn't know, I knew it was a bad bill the minute we saw it in judiciary, had nothing to do with Donald Trump. It codified illegal aliens, it allowed up to 1.8 million to come into the country before anything was done. It did nothing about catch and release. It did nothing about the wall. It didn't rebuild the wall. It did nothing when in the past we had Title 42, and it didn't do anything about the Remain in Mexico policy. Now, real quickly, would you agree that some of those policies in the past administration were good, and that we really didn't need a whole lot more legislation, that we could have done it through the president at the time under the Biden administration? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Mr. Marino,
Yes,
yes
sir.
or no? Mr. Mikowski, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hauser,
Sir,
yes
can you
or no?
just give me the question one more time?
All the things that I just mentioned, all the things that could be done to protect our borders. We had the biggest disaster in border crossings in our American history. Couldn't we have prevented that purely by presidential action, not by a faulty, bad Senate bill? I think you're going to see a good bill come out of this Congress.
Sir, I would
That
only
bill was a
state that
bad
this
bill.
is only the first 100 days. You're going to see border surges.
I didn't ask that question.
Until we don't need the Alien and Sedition Act to carry out
What are
immigration
nobody's
enforcement.
talking
We have
about.
Title 8.
Do you believe that we could have done better in the Biden administration through presidential action than we did?
Sir, clearly.
Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yes
at the
or
beginning,
no?
Sir, there was mistakes.
Yes or no? Yeah, we screwed up. We did a bad job in the Biden administration. You know, I mean, even you've got to kind of admit that. And now we're trying to straighten out the mess.
On what I believe to be one of the probably the most important issue that our country faces right now, which is illegal immigration. Mr. Hauser, I've got a few questions for you. You were chief of staff for ICE, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What years were you there?
2021 to 2023.
So that was during the Biden administration, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Got it. So presumably you're well-versed in border security and immigration enforcement, is that right?
Yes, sir. I would say that I'm very aware. I also worked at CBP under the Obama administration. Yes, sir.
Got it. So you've got a lot of experience there. I'm going to ask you a few questions. In an interview with the Daily Blast on February 28th, 2024, you mentioned, quote, "You can't deter and punish your way to lowering encounters at the border," end quote. Do you think you were right or wrong about that?
100%, sir. What we've seen.
100% what? Right or wrong?
100% I was correct.
You were correct about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The idea that you just dismantle an immigration system is not. There was a mandate to the Trump administration.
Illegal alien
the
border
election.
encounters are down 95% right now. I think you were wrong about that. You also said, quote, "The idea that you can turn off the border is just not factual." Do you think that was right or wrong?
Sir, the threats that we're still seeing across the border.
Do you think
I
you were right or
named
wrong
those
about
numbers
that
earlier.
statement?
What's that, sir?
My question is, were you right or wrong about that statement?
When you
That
turn
can
off
just
the
turn off
immigration
border?
system, sir, yes, you will not see encounters. Yes.
Well, southwestern border encounters are at a 15-year low under President Trump. Another thing that you mentioned, quote, "Just shutting off the border to asylum seekers is not going to do that," meaning close the border. What I think is going to do that is make it more erratic and sporadic for the sort of large surges of migrants you would see coming across the border. Do you think that was right or wrong?
100% correct. It was correct, sir. We're going to see that over the next couple of years. Yes, sir.
Border apprehensions are down now because President Trump has secured our border. He's stopped the flow of illegal aliens coming across our border and coming to our border. Do you think that we have a better or worse border situation now than we did under Joe Biden?
Sir, I believe the border is secure.
You believe the border's secure, that's right. But you were wrong about a lot of other things, about what would secure the border, is that right?
No, sir, it's only been 100 days.
You were wrong about what it would take to stop the flow of illegal aliens coming into the United States. You were wrong that secure enforcement that we're seeing under President Trump would stop the flow of illegal aliens. You ought to keep that in mind as you're going to the media and mouthing off about the president.
Can I answer that question?
Let me ask you another question. This is from a New York Times op-ed that you wrote just a month ago.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned, quote, "Federal law enforcement under President Trump is engaged in dangerous political theater." What about President Trump's law enforcement do you think is dangerous political theater? Do you think that
Sir, I think
seizing
setting quotas,
235,000 pounds of
quotas
fentanyl
by
at the
political
border is
appointees in
dangerous
the White
political
House
theater?
is a problem.
Do you think seizing fentanyl at our border is dangerous
sir.
political theater? Do you know who Gilberto Avila Jara is?
So that's exactly where ICE should have their resources focused. That's exactly where
And
this
we did,
administration
and
is
he was
beginning to turn
arrested
them away
last
from.
month and charged with over 20 sex crimes against minors.
Yes, sir.
These were the kind of people that Joe
Taking
Biden
2,000
and
CBP
under your
officers off the
leadership were
border
coming into
over
our
the next
country.
3 months doesn't make us more safe. taking HSI agents away
Taking-
from drug interdiction. And
Taking
sex
murderers and
trafficking,
rapists
human
off our
smuggling
streets makes the American
doesn't make us
people more safe. It's your testimony that taking murderers and rapists off our streets does not make us more safe?
What I'm
Is
saying,
that what
sir,
you're
is
telling
over,
me?
what we have heard from this administration is over the next few months, there's going to be thousands of law enforcement focused on non-criminal migrants.
We'll see.
instead
You
of
were
the
you were
exact
wrong
same
about a
threats
lot
we
of
both
things. I don't
agree
put a
over.
whole lot of stock into that, candidly, and I don't think the American people do either. Do you support amnesty?
No, sir.
Do you support amnesty for illegal aliens?
No, sir.
In this New York Times article, you wrote, quote, "That means that the best solution for public safety is not mass deportations.
No, I
It's giving
support
undocumented
focused immigration
I'm
support
speaking
for
right
migrants
now.
that need
This is my
protection
time,
under
not
our law.
yours. I'm speaking. It's giving undocumented immigrants who have been in the United States for a long time the opportunity to come forward, pay a fine, and gain legal status." That
Yes, sir.
sounds a lot like amnesty to me, doesn't it, to
It's
you?
a process, sir, under the law that could exercise and allow them for
That's
migrants to come out of the
amnesty.
shadows and then focus. ICE
That's what
officers
amnesty
against real
is. This
public
is
safety.
a deliberate semantic obfuscation, and you know it, and I know it, and the American people know it as
it's not,
well. Do you think that illegal aliens should be given welfare once they get amnesty?
Sir, that's not my department.
You've got a lot of opinions on a whole lot of different things. You don't have an opinion on
Areas
that?
where I've worked for 20 years, sir. Yes, sir.
And finally, let me ask you, do you think that Biden was successful at stopping illegal immigration?
There was failures at the beginning of the Biden administration to deal with the flow of migrants post-COVID, and then there was failures of implementation of policies across all of the immigration system. That's the same problems we're seeing now. The idea that you can enforce your way out of immigration and the challenges that we see across the Western Hemisphere, it's not going to work.
We had an open border under Biden. The border's secure now. I think that's a successful Trump policy and a failure of the Biden administration.
Mr. Hauser, thank you for your service to our country as a combat veteran. But no thank you to the Biden administration for precipitating the worst border crisis in American history. I would say that Joe Biden and his administration were incompetent, but I think it was intentional. It was intentional that he flooded at least 8 million illegal aliens into our country. And what is the Democrats' solution? The Democrats' solution seems to be, unless you've been convicted of a violent crime, you can stay. Not only can you stay, but we will pass amnesty bills to support you. We will block enforcement of immigration laws and endanger ICE officers with sanctuary city policies. We'll give you welfare. We'll give you health care. We'll give you free education. You know, if you want to come here as a birthright tourist, your kids will be citizens, and that will help you to stay in the country permanently. We'll give you free stays at luxury hotels. Oh yeah, Biden and his administration have really done a great job. Donald Trump has lowered illegal border crossings by 95%. Somehow that doesn't count. There are going to be surges later on, don't you know? Well, you know, this all gets away from the purpose of this hearing, which is the fact that activist protests, including those by members of Congress, obstruct immigration enforcement and undermine public safety. In April and May alone, there were more than 14 demonstrations planned across 12 states targeting ICE detention centers and related facilities. These types of demonstrations physically impede ICE detention center operations on purpose and inhibit the successful processing of detained illegal aliens. And you know what? I do care whether illegal aliens have committed violent crimes, of course. But I think every illegal immigrant, as you've pointed out, Mr. Michkowski, has broken the law and needs to leave. And to me, due process is you prove that they're not here legally, they get the hell out of our country.
The gentleman yield for a friendly question.
No, I do not. It's my time. You've spoken about 4 times so far in this hearing. For example, on May 4th, 2025, activists protested an ICE field office as a detention bus left, with law enforcement agents forced to surround the bus to prevent interference, diverting staff from other duties and delaying detainee transfers. The protests directly impeded law enforcement, federal law, and put ICE officers at risk. Mr. Michkowski, do law enforcement officers and ICE officers Do they receive training how to deal with crowds and riots?
Sir, yes, sir, they do.
I'm sorry, is the time clock is, I don't know how much, I think I have some time left, but the time clock went black. Oh, there we go. Okay. How are ICE officials trained to react when a gate would be broken and stormed by a group of raucous protesters?
Sir, from what I saw in the video, I think they handled themselves the way they could, the best they could in that situation. I mean, what I saw was a lot of belly bumping from lawmakers, putting their hands on the officers, whether you agree or not agree. It's unlawful.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen.
Well, there's
and
assault and there's battery, and when you touch another person without their consent, that's battery. And battery of a law enforcement officer, is that a violation of the law?
Yes, sir.
Even if you're a member of Congress,
Yes, sir.
we members of Congress aren't above the law.
Absolutely, sir. And they were trying to protect maybe the facility. There was a lot of commotion there. Their number one concern at that moment is making sure nobody enters a secure environment and that could pose risk to a detainee or a congressperson or anybody else in that situation, sir.
Right, right. Why do DHS and ICE officers, why do they wear body cams?
Sir, can I answer that question?
Sure.
As Chief of Staff of ICE, I implemented the first policy for body-worn cameras, and they created a pilot within Homeland Security Investigations to carry that out. That, in the last year, has been rescinded by the current administration.
Okay.
So they are not funding, and they are not moving forward with the body-worn camera program under the Trump administration. But I was glad to see, quite frankly, in the criminal complaint against the Congresswoman, that some of the officers still had their cameras on.
Yeah.
So hopefully this Congress
And we have footage.
commit to fully
We have
implementing
footage,
this across
and we have
immigration.
footage of officers being assaulted.
Mr. Under, if I could
Yes.
respond to that question.
Yes.
It's a twofold purpose. One, it protects the officer from any allegations that they engaged in violations of civil rights laws, and it also reminds the officer of the fact that somebody's always watching.
And Mr. Arthur, why do ICE officers occasionally wear masks?
ICE officers occasionally wear a mask because, unfortunately, in this heated environment, they get doxxed, they get attacked, they get threatened at their homes. People disclose where they live, disclose their phone numbers, where their children go to school.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you all for your testimony.